Don't need to do that. Called mental health and UPSC. I am a doctor, so anything that you'd like to ask me, I'm here to answer, and I'm only here to answer what you would like to hear. Is that okay with everybody? मजा आता था बायो पढ़ने में, but I hated medicine. Even more than medicine, I hated the smells and the feel of a hospital. In my first attempt, I got through the prelims with a very good score. I have about 115 marks in my first attempt in the prelims. Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, LinkedIn सब है मेरे पास अब. 2 साल के लिए नहीं था. सारी मैं अपनी बड़ा सब निकाल रहा हूँ.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.
Hello. So just start. All right. So hi, I am Dr. Shivin, and if you don't know me, I am All India rank 297 this year, and I was here for an interaction with Atish Mathur sir. What I wanted was an interactive session with him, so that we could both speak on issues that go unnoticed in this exam. If you don't know, I have a YouTube channel called Clarity for UPSC, and any strategy or anything that I can possibly tell you about this exam is already there on that channel. So anything that I tell you now is something that I want to hear from you. So what we're going to do here today is, since Atish sir could not be here unfortunately, is that we are going to take questions from you. And since you've taken time to come out here, taken time out of your schedule to be here, I'd just like to hear from you what questions you have, what things you'd like to know about this exam, and how I could be of assistance in things that are extremely personal to you. मैंने ऐसी बहुत topper talks देखी हैं from the other side. Of course, on YouTube, I've never been to a Rajendra Nagar classroom. This is the first time I'm in a Rajendra Nagar classroom, and it's great that I'm on the other side. Since I've always taken my coaching online, I've always been on the side of the camera. But the problem I feel that I've faced in all of these talks that I have seen is that people are talking about themselves. And that is natural, since most people might not have a platform. But I do, and I have a YouTube where I've spoken in lengths and tons about myself. So what we're going to do is I want to hear from you. What I'd like is that we keep this session interactive. Whatever questions you have about your prep, about this year, next year, prelims, backup plan, mental health, etc. I also run a YouTube channel called Mental Health and UPSC. I am a doctor. So anything that you'd like to ask me, I'm here to answer. And I'm only here to answer what you would like to hear. Is that okay with everybody? All right. So let's get started. I'll just talk a little bit about myself so you know what things I can answer and what I can't. And everything else is going to be about you. So I started preparing in 2019. At that time, I was doing my MBBS in Maulana Azad Medical College, about 20 minutes from here, in front of the ITO office. I was not interested in medicine. I went to college and I felt that I am in the wrong place. I went to medical college because I liked biology. मुझे बहुत मजा आता था बायो पढ़ने में, but I hated medicine. Even more than medicine, I hated the smells and the feel of a hospital. I felt कि ये probably मेरे लिए सबसे गंदी जगह है. Even though both my parents are doctors, it was such a bad experience inside a hospital. I remember the first time I went to a hospital, and was in my 3rd year in my medicine posting. It was a 6-week posting, and I decided that after the 3 days, I decided that अगर attendance मिल जाएगी तो मैं दोबारा नहीं आऊँगा इस posting में वापस. And in those 6 weeks, I just attended my posting for 4 days. I spent time studying for a Model United Nations competition before my final exams because I was interested in the IFS. I've also skipped college exams to study for debate competitions. So I had a genuine interest in subjects like these, and that is why I started preparing. In 2019 and 20, I was preparing with medical college. That was a difficult task. I hated medicine, so it was an even more difficult task. But after that, I decided that I will prepare wholeheartedly. I started preparing wholeheartedly after I graduated in 2021 January. After 2021 January, I've just been preparing for this exam. The last 2 years I've spent only preparing. In my first attempt, I got through the prelims with a very good score. I have about 115 marks in my first attempt in the prelims. But I failed the mains by 18 marks. And this year, the prelims also I got through, and of course got through all the stages. Only one question that I will not answer is about GS4. Because my marks in GS4 are this year lower than even the average marks. The average marks are 100 and my marks are 85. Everywhere else I have a top 100 mark sheet except GS4. That's probably the reason my rank is not in the top 100. So any question I had 85. एंड आई वाज स्कैर्ड कि मेरा सीसैट नहीं होगा 2022 में, बड़ी मुश्किल से हुआ है, कॉम्प्रिहेंशन के बेसिस पे हुआ है, तो आई एम नॉट द राइट पर्सन, स्पेशली इस साल का सीसैट देख के. So now I'm going to open this up to you guys. Whatever questions you have, anything about the preparation, be it as trivial or as complex as you want, I'm happy to answer. If you want anonymity, I just request the team here, and if you could, that we can have some papers delivered to you. You can write your question on a chit and send them to me. I'll read them out here and answer them. I think that would be best because not everybody is okay with sharing their questions public. So till that happens, if any of you is okay with asking their questions and you have the confidence, which I would really appreciate, I would love an yes, please. Your name, please. Ishan, yes. Okay, so Ishan is asking about the newspaper. So here is the thing about me. I've never read the newspaper in my life, not even once. And it's not because the newspaper is bad or it's something that you should not do. It's only because मुझसे नहीं पढ़ा जाता था. I am not regular enough कि मैं रोज सुबह उठ के एक चीज पढूं, जबकि मुझे GS सब्जेक्ट्स की अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है. So what I did was I read. आप कोई भी मंथली मैगजीन पढ़ लो, that would suffice. Of course न्यूज़पेपर में एडिटोरियल्स पढ़ना is important because that मैंने इंटरव्यू के लिए बहुत न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ा है to get perspective and ideas. But I would recommend that you do that only after you have finished your GS subjects and the GS basics. So once you know about the GS and you know a basic static idea, only then go for the newspaper. नहीं तो उसकी कोई खास relevance नहीं है. Because जो newspaper लिख रहा है, they are not writing it from the perspective of a UPSC examiner, right? They are writing it for a general reader, and your awareness does not need to be general awareness, right? Yeah. Any other questions? I require all of them to have a piece of paper, or if they have papers already, just write your question on a sheet, send it to him and he'll give them here. Okay? All right. Yeah. Yes. Your name, please. Sorry? Pranita. Which attempt, Pranita? Which year are you aiming for? 24. Okay. Right time to start the optional. Okay, so ideally you should have by now, but in case you haven't, see, देखो mains में क्या होता है? If you look at your mark sheet in the mains, for any, let's say 800 is your target. I can write on this side. Okay, just a second. Let's say 800 is your target. This is your target in the mains. Okay, you can get more than this also. Top rankers get 900, but this can be a basic target. Out of this, about 280 have to come from optional. So this is a key perspective in your preparation. So now your optional decision should have been made already. And agar abhi tak nahi hua hai, decide within the next month. If you're preparing for 24, by December your optional should be done at least once. Now how will you select your optional? Okay, isme there is a very scientific way to do it. Dekho, can anybody tell me what a good optional is? What are the characteristics of a good optional? Scoring, good. Scoring, interest. Scoring, interest. What else? Overlap with GS. Okay. What else? Study material should be available. Or yeah, ठीक है, this is the same thing. Mentor should be available. Anything else? Small size. Wonderful. Anything else? और कुछ? वो तो पढ़ने के बाद आएगी ना, अभी तो सिलेक्ट कर रहे हैं. बैकग्राउंड, गुड. एक चीज जो आप नहीं बोलोगे, जो मैं बोल देता हूं, करंट अफेयर्स से लिंक नहीं होना चाहिए ताकि न्यूज़पेपर ना पढ़ना पड़े. एनीथिंग एल्स? या एनीथिंग एल्स जो आपको ऑप्शनल से चाहिए? ओके, देखो प्रॉब्लम पता है क्या है? सर ने बोला था ओरिजिनली, जस्ट पैराफ्रेजिंग हिम, ऐसा पीस मार्केट में है नहीं. ठीक है, इट्स नॉट देयर, राइट? तो अब व्हाट कैन यू डू? आई टेल यू हाउ आई सिलेक्टेड इट एंड देन आई टेल यू व्हाट यू कैन डू. ओके, देखो, आई टुक दिस थिंग फर्स्ट. बैकग्राउंड, मेडिकल साइंस बढ़िया ऑप्शनल है. आई एम फ्रॉम वन ऑफ इंडियाज बेस्ट कॉलेजेस. माई रैंक इन नीट वॉज 70, ऑल इंडिया रैंक 70. So of course I am from a very good college, and मेरे कॉलेज से there are people who are in the IAS with this optional. Medical science optional से आनंद शर्मा सर रैंक 62 2018, सुयश चवन सर रैंक 56 2017, and both of them are from my college and have guided me immensely. Okay, तो मेरे पास गाइडेंस भी थी, स्कोरिंग भी है, राइट? बट जो गाइडेंस थी ना, दे टोल्ड मी कि भूल के भी मत लेना. Why? No overlap, huge size, and mainly I hated medicine. Optional is, it is often said it is like a marriage, and it is not wrong. It is like a marriage because you have to stick with it. I'll tell you the problem. The problem is, आप दोगे मेंस अपना, आपने मेंस दिया, इंटरव्यू होगा, रिजल्ट आएगा. मेंस में लेट्स से यू डिड नॉट डू वेल इन दी ऑप्शनल, ठीक है, मान लो आपके 100 नंबर आए हैं ऑप्शनल में, आपका यहां पे नाम नहीं आएगा लिस्ट में, यहां पे तो फिर आएगा ही नहीं. फिर क्या होगा? प्रीलिम्स होगा इस साल का. यही है ना साइकिल. बट इंटरव्यू का टाइम क्या होता है? जैसे इस साल क्या था इंटरव्यू का टाइम? जनवरी टू अप्रैल टू मई. फॉर्म कब भरना है यूपीएससी का? फेब में. मेंस कब देना है? सितंबर में. तो जब आप फॉर्म भर रहे हो तब ऑप्शनल डिक्लेयर करना है. विद मी सो फार? आपको पता ही नहीं चलेगा कि आपके ऑप्शनल में मार्क्स कम है या नहीं. सो एटलीस्ट वन मोर अटेम्प्ट यू विल गिव विद द सेम ऑप्शनल, इवन इफ यू हैव रॉयली मेस्ड इट अप. सो द डिसीजन हैज टू बी वेरी केयरफुल. गेटिंग इट? ओके, फैक्टर्स पे वापस आते हैं. हैज टू बी स्कोरिंग. गुड, दिस इज अ फैक्टर. कुछ ऑप्शनल्स हैं जो स्कोरिंग नहीं है, जैसे मेडिकल साइंस इज नॉट अ स्कोरिंग ऑप्शनल. मेडिकल साइंस में आनंद शर्मा सर हैड टू गिव 4 attempts to get 62 rank after being selected in the second attempt with 370 rank because marks ही नहीं आ रहे थे. And today he is the highest scorer, 312 marks हैं, जो कोई बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है. बाकी ऑप्शनल्स में लोगों के फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में आ जाते हैं. It took him 4 attempts. तो ये तो एक्चुअली क्राइटेरिया सिर्फ यही है. All optionals are equal, but some optionals are more equal than others. Okay, some optionals are more scoring, and you have to get that idea. अब आप कैसे सिलेक्ट करोगे? ये क्राइटेरिया आपको हटा देना है अपने दिमाग से, बिकॉज अगर बाकी लोग कर रहे हैं तो आप कर लोगे. यू विल हैव नोट्स, एंड जनरली जो ऑप्शनल्स करंट अफेयर्स से लिंक्ड हैं, मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली पीएसआईआर, राइट, वो उतना करंट अफेयर्स लिंक नहीं है जितना जीएस में आपको वैसे भी करंट अफेयर्स पढ़ना पड़ जाएगा, राइट. सो ये क्राइटेरिया तो हम हटा देते हैं. स्टडी एंड मेंटर, दिस इज ओवरलैपिंग विद स्कोरिंग. अगर स्कोरिंग होगा तो स्टडी मटेरियल भी बन जाएंगे, मेंटर्स भी बन जाएंगे, करेक्ट. जैसे एंथ्रोपोलॉजी स्कोरिंग है, पिछले 10 साल में कोचिंग्स मशरूम कर रही है एंथ्रोपोलॉजी की, करेंगी. नेक्स्ट, इंटरेस्ट. ये फैक्टर कई लोग कहते हैं कि इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, बट एज पर मी ये फैक्टर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज अगर आप इंटरेस्टेड नहीं होगे तो आप नहीं पढ़ पाओगे. यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू रीड द ऑप्शनल इफ यू आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन इट. नाउ, ओवरलैप विद जीएस, दिस इज ऑल्सो एन ओवररेटेड फैक्टर. रैंक 4 का जूलॉजी ऑप्शनल है इस बार, कोई लिंक नहीं है जीएस से. नंबर आ गए ना. ऑप्शनल की चीजें वैसे भी जीएस में नहीं लिखनी होती, बिकॉज जीएस में यू आर राइटिंग फ्रॉम अ जनरलिस्ट पर्सपेक्टिव. ऑफ कोर्स इट हेल्प्स. एंथ्रोपोलॉजी लोगे सोसाइटी में हेल्प होगी, पीएसआईआर लोगे पेपर 2 में हेल्प होगी, बट यू कैन नॉट कीप दिस एज अ डिसाइडिंग फैक्टर. तो ये भी हटा देते हैं. देन बैकग्राउंड, दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट. इफ यू हैव अ बैकग्राउंड, ऑफ कोर्स टेक दैट ऑप्शनल. अगर आपका कोई ग्रेजुएशन सब्जेक्ट है जो स्कोरिंग है, ले लो, बिकॉज आप ऑलरेडी उसमें टाइम लगा चुके हो. बट लाइक आई सेड, यू शुड लाइक योर ग्रेजुएशन सब्जेक्ट, एंड दैट ग्रेजुएशन सब्जेक्ट नीड्स टू बी स्कोरिंग. नीदर डिड आई लाइक माई ग्रेजुएशन सब्जेक्ट, नॉर वॉज माई ग्रेजुएशन सब्जेक्ट स्कोरिंग. हटा दो, राइट. स्मॉल साइज. अब मैं आपको बताता हूं कि मैंने ऑप्शनल कैसे सिलेक्ट किया था. मेरे पास, आई टेल यू व्हाट द प्रोसेस इज, ताकि आप भी उसको कर सको, राइट. ऐसे एक ऑप्शनल्स की लिस्ट है यूपीएससी में, 29 ऑप्शनल्स हैं. आई टेल यू व्हाट टू डू. यहां पे लिखे हैं, शुरू के कुछ ऑप्शनल्स काट दो जो आप ले ही नहीं सकते. जैसे एज अ डॉक्टर मैं कभी मैथ्स नहीं ले पाऊंगा, एज अ डॉक्टर मैं कभी पंजाबी लिटरेचर नहीं ले पाऊंगा, तो उनको काट दो. अब लेट्स से यू आर लेफ्ट विद 10 है प्रोबेबल्स दैट यू कैन टेक, और पॉसिबल रादर. इन पॉसिबल में से वो काट दो जिसमें इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. जैसे आई कैन टेक जूलॉजी बट आई डोंट लाइक इट, आई कैन टेक बॉटनी बट आई डोंट लाइक इट. अब यहां पे ना 5 ही रह जाएंगे. अब उन पे वो क्राइटेरिया अप्लाई करो. जैसे मेरे लिए 3 की लिस्ट रह गई थी, सोशियोलॉजी, पीएसआईआर, एंथ्रोपोलॉजी. सोशियोलॉजी हटा दिया बिकॉज थॉट की इंटरेस्ट उतना नहीं है. बायो में इंटरेस्ट था, एंथ्रो से मैच कर रहा था, आईआर में बहुत इंटरेस्ट था, पीएसआईआर से मैच कर रहा था. सो व्हाट डिड आई डू? मैंने डिसीजन लिया, और अभी तक मुझे लगता है दैट आई टुक द रॉन्ग डिसीजन. आई टुक द डिसीजन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ स्मॉल साइज, कि एंथ्रोपोलॉजी छोटा है, 3 महीने में एंथ्रो हो जाता है. टॉपर्स भी आके बोल रहे थे 1-2, 3 महीने पढ़ो 300 नंबर. मैंने अपनी लाइफ में 9 महीने एंथ्रो पढ़ा है, सिर्फ केवल एंथ्रो, एंड अभी भी पेपर 2 के मार्क्स उतने अच्छे नहीं है. पेपर 1 में 152 है, रिफ्लेक्ट कर रही है, वो मेहनत रिफ्लेक्ट हो रही है पेपर 1 में. पेपर 2 में पेपर देते देते खराब हो गया, तो 118 ही है, 270 है. 270 इज अ गुड स्कोर, बट ये फैक्टर नहीं हो सकता. एंड नाउ इफ आई लुक बैक, आई प्रोबेबली शुड हैव टेकन पीएसआईआर, बिकॉज मेरा इंटरेस्ट उसमें ज्यादा था. एक और फैक्टर, मैंने क्या डिसीजन लिया कि यार करंट अफेयर्स है, न्यूज़पेपर तो पढ़ा नहीं जाता, पीएसआईआर के लिए क्या पढ़ूंगा. अगेन रॉन्ग डिसीजन. सिलेक्ट हो गया हूं मैं एंथ्रो से, एंड आई वुड लाइक टू रियली थैंक एंथ्रो फॉर माई मार्क्स. 270 आउट ऑफ 775 दैट आई हैव इन द मेंस, बहुत मेजर प्रोपोर्शन होता है. बट द डिसीजन वाज रॉन्ग बिकॉज द फैक्टर्स वर रॉन्ग. फैक्टर्स अल्टीमेटली यही हैं, स्कोरिंग एंड इंटरेस्ट. और इंटरेस्ट सेकेंडरी है स्कोरिंग से, इफ यू आर दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ पर्सन. आई एम नॉट दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ पर्सन. जो चीज मुझे नहीं पसंद मैं नहीं पढ़ पाऊंगा, जो चीज मुझे पसंद है मैं इसे कितनी भी पढ़वा लो. राइट? सो स्कोरिंग एंड इंटरेस्ट, और कोई फैक्टर नहीं देखना. राइट? जैसे मान लो कोई एक ऑप्शनल है फिलॉसफी, जिसमें मार्क्स नहीं आते लोगों के. राइट? अगर मार्क्स नहीं आते लोगों के फिलॉसफी में, तो आप आते होंगे, आई एम जस्ट गिविंग एन एग्जांपल. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि अब आप फिलॉसफी नहीं ही लोगे. इफ यू आर इंटरेस्टेड, you talk to a mentor, but I would say that you exercise a lot of caution. Scoring first, interest second, no other criteria. All right, next question. Just a second. Is a sheet being passed around? Yeah, okay, great. Yeah. Your name, please? Aryan, yes. Psychology में the only person I know who has done psychology personally is Manasvi Sharma. Rank 100 this year, gem of a person, and he scored 300 plus. तो देखो मार्क्स तो आते हैं, but it was his 6th attempt. Now I don't know whether it was because of psychology or not. That you'll have to ask him. But marks तो आते हैं यार psychology में. Now it's on your interest and your background. If you have a background in psychology and you're confident, do it. इसमें एक और criteria मैं आपको बता सकता हूँ interest match का. You can look at the previous year toppers copy. Means कि उनकी कॉपी लो और देखो. आपसे ऑब्वियसली वो नहीं लिखा जाएगा अभी ना, यू आर वेरी फार अवे फ्रॉम व्हाट दे आर. बट क्या मैं ऐसा लिख सकता हूं आगे? इज दिस समथिंग दैट आई कैन डू? तो आपको लगेगा कि हाँ मैं कर सकता हूं, पढ़ के मजा आ रहा है उसको, तो देन यू टेक इट. ऑलराइट, या एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? हाँ जी, हाँ हाँ, गो हेड, गो हेड. Yeah. Thank you. So nice to hear that. Yeah, your question, please. Mm-hmm.
When I looked at on toppers and how they when you're giving grades, so when you read a question, so you have some seconds to formulate a framework.
Mm-hmm.
But this will be my intro, this will be my body and something. But when you read that framework thinking, I don't find that anybody emphasizes on it. That you should study in frameworks or in templates. That
Right.
So, can we study a subject in a particular template format if that can happen? And secondly, there are 3-4 crucial areas that how to read, how to think, how to write, and how to speak, which is essentially the 4 pillars: prelims, mains, and interview. And at the core level, how to think for this exam in a framework way. So,
इसमें how to speak हटा देते हैं, because that is a completely different thing. Okay, अभी के लिए वो हटा देते हैं. I'll come back to it. But right now, let's just talk about how to think. And whatever you're saying, that is the only reason I'm doing the course that I'm doing right now. Okay, there is a, chalo, let's leave that aside. How to think. This is what I'm teaching effectively. And लेके आया हूं मैं. तो मैं आपको कुछ वही बताता हूं जो मैंने आज सुबह बताया. What I'm doing is I'm analyzing previous year questions. एक question है, impact of gig economy on women empowerment. 2021 means. ठीक है, सोसाइटी का आई थिंक 10 मार्क और 15 मार्क, 10 मार्क क्वेश्चन. ओके, अब जब मैं पढ़ रहा था women empowerment, of course दिस थिंग आई विल नॉट फाइंड एनीवेयर डायरेक्टली. नाउ यू विल फाइंड एवरीवेयर, क्योंकि मेंस हो गया है ना, तो अब हर कोचिंग मटेरियल ने यहां पे कर दिया उसको. बट जब मैं पढ़ रहा था देन आई डिड नॉट हैव दिस इन माई माइंड. एक और क्वेश्चन की बात करते हैं, नक्सलिज्म का क्वेश्चन, दैट इट इज अ मल्टी डायमेंशनल थ्रेट. या चलो लेट्स जस्ट लीव दिस क्वेश्चन असाइड, लेट्स डू अ डिफरेंट वन. लेट्स से कोई टेक्नोलॉजी पे क्वेश्चन आता है, अ क्वेश्चन ऑन टेक्नोलॉजी वेयर वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट लेट्स से कि इस टेक्नोलॉजी के क्या चैलेंजेस हैं, क्या फायदे हैं, है ना. और लेट्स से नैनोटेक का क्वेश्चन है, व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस, व्हाट आर वी सपोज्ड टू डू एक्सेट्रा. अब लेट्स टॉक अबाउट द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन. मैंने तो कहीं नहीं पढ़ा, जब मुझे दिखा कहीं भी किसी भी बुक में गिग इकोनॉमी विमेन एम्पावरमेंट साथ में नहीं लिखा. बट मैंने पढ़ा कैसे? व्हेन आई वाज रीडिंग विमेन एम्पावरमेंट आई फाउंड अ डेफिनेशन बाय द यूएन. यूएन's definition of women empowerment says that it must have 5 components. I'm repeating this because I've just taught this exact thing in the morning. Ability to make decisions, right to access resources. कौन से resources? Political, social, economic. Ability to control social change, या ability to be agents of social change. Ability to have self-worth and to take control of their own decisions. This is the United Nations definition of women empowerment. मान लो मैं ऐसे पढ़ रहा हूं, ठीक है, एंड मुझे ये डेफिनेशन मिल गई. नाउ देयर इज अ मैप इन माय हेड. दिस इज स्पेसिफिकली फॉर मेंस. प्रीलिम्स इज अ वेरी डिफरेंट गेम, वहां पे ये बिल्कुल एप्लीकेबल नहीं है, बट स्पेसिफिकली फॉर मेंस, एंड दैट इज इफ यू आर ऑल 20-24 people here. So this is what you should be doing right now. You have this framework in your head. अब मेरे को आ गया क्वेश्चन गिग इकोनॉमी पे. Examine the role of gig economy in women's empowerment. I know these 5 dimensions. So I will say, okay, does gig economy give women the right to make decisions? Yes and no. Does it give them access to resources? Yes to economic, maybe not to political and social. Does it give them a sense of self-worth? Yes, because it is taking them away from pink-collared jobs that only nurses or only assistants could be women, and now they can be Uber drivers also, and this is a form of empowerment. But no also, because the job is transient. They can be fired, they can be removed, they don't have rights. Is it letting them do social change at some level in their families because they are now earning? So they have a say in the household. Their identity and their importance has increased. But not a lot, because social change करने के लिए you need much more than just economic empowerment. Lastly, are they getting control of their lives? Yes, to some level, because they are getting economic resources, but no to some level. Let's go back to the question. Question क्या था? Examine gig economy, women's empowerment. Now, if there is gig economy and there is women's empowerment, what do I do? I say कि ठीक है यार, women's empowerment में ये 5 चीजें हैं. Gig economy does yes in some places, no in some places. यही तो क्वेश्चन है. This is exactly what they're asking ना. Okay. Second question, technology. मान लो किसी भी टेक की बात होती है, forget if it is nanotechnology, biotechnology, whatever. किसी भी टेक्नोलॉजी को करने के लिए क्या चाहिए? There will be a scientist. He will need some money and he will need some infrastructure. Correct? He will need a lab. इतनी 3 चीजें तो है ना. Okay. ये तीनों चीजें मिलके क्या होगी? रिसर्च. रिसर्च से क्या होगी? डेवलपमेंट ऑफ अ न्यू प्रोडक्ट. बट यहां पर 2 प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. जब नया प्रोडक्ट बन जाएगा, किसी ने कॉपी कर लिया तो आई विल नीड इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स. एंड ये जो नया प्रोडक्ट बना है, अगर ये मार्केट में रेलेवेंट ही नहीं हुआ तो, मान लो आई मेक अ स्टोन पेल्टिंग मशीन, क्या फायदा है ना. कईयों को हो भी सकता है, बट चलो. सो व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड? इंडस्ट्री एकेडेमिया लिंकेज. So the academia has to be linked with what the market wants. Correct? ये हो गया. अब now after this development has happened, what do you need? You need leadership to ensure that it is marketed and growth properly. You have this framework ready in your head. Now study every technology like this. Any question that you get in the mains can be answered with this. So you have to study in these frameworks. And ये frameworks कहां से आएंगे? क्या मैं ही पढ़ा सकता हूं? नहीं. They will come from previous year questions. Look at previous year questions and look at what happens in previous year questions. You'll get an idea. जैसे अगर मैं नक्सलिज्म की बात करूं, या नक्सलिज्म पे, लेफ्ट विंग एक्सट्रीमिज्म पे क्वेश्चंस हैं, या फिर आई टॉक ऑफ द नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंसर्जेंसी. नक्सलिज्म पे दे हैव आस्क्ड about the drivers of northeast, about the drivers of Naxalism, what laws have not worked, why is there Naxalism, what are the impact, what does the government need to do, right? And where all it is there, what are the emerging issues, why it is a multi-layered issue. So the why, what, etc. is what they are asking. आप map कर लो और उनको लिख दो. That ends your topic. Anything new that you read about Naxalism will come into the framework of Naxalism. So if you can study as a framework, it is very important. Right? And you have to do it. अब ये आपको कैसे आएगा? Nobody can effectively teach you this except you practicing it yourself. Look at everything that you read and take time to think. बहुत teachers भी ये बात कहते हैं कि सोचना सीखो. But nobody says that this is what we have to do. How else will we learn how to think? और मुझे भी ये बात नहीं पता थी. This, not knowing this, is probably the only reason I did not make it in Means 2021. And take time to think. बहुत टीचर्स भी ये बात कहते हैं कि सोचना सीखो, बट नोबडी सेज दैट दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव टू डू. हाउ एल्स विल वी लर्न हाउ टू थिंक? और मुझे भी ये बात नहीं पता थी. दिस, नॉट नोइंग दिस, इज प्रोबेबली द ओनली रीजन आई डिड नॉट मेक इट इन मीन्स 2021. मेन से 5 दिन पहले समझ आता है कि ये तो सॉल्वेबल है, बट यू डोंट नो इट, एंड अब पता है, तो आई एम टेलिंग यू दैट यू मेक अ फ्रेमवर्क फॉर एवरीथिंग. Everything can be divided. Let's say there is a social issue. You can't divide it into a social, technological, administrative, political, legal, economic issue. You study like that. You answer like that. Whatever you write in your notes, you will write in your mains copy. Right? So why not make the notes similar to the mains copy? Understood? I hope I've answered your question. Yeah.
I think, but I still I'm not because I've tried to research it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say it's a pestle mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I want to ask that how many such models do exist? Are there certain frameworks?
Yeah, there are 100%. So there is a stakeholder model where you look at any issue through a number of stakeholders. There is a life cycle model. A life cycle model would be, this is a life cycle model. You look at something from the start to the end. There is, let's say, a model on supply chain where you can look at demand and supply. Let's say you're looking at RTI. You can look at the demand of RTI, the supply of RTI, and the regulatory issues. So there are many models like that, and there is no limit to it. But the thing is, you'll have to develop them on your own. Ultimately, they have to be developed by yourself. But once you learn them, once you learn those approaches, you can see them on YouTube, etc. Then everything, as much as you can, you fit here. Because बहुत कुछ है याद करने को. And आप लोगों का attention span है बहुत कम. ठीक है? I can see bored faces from here even now. It's been maybe 15 minutes since I started talking. Okay, तो हमारा attention span कम है और चीजें याद करने को बहुत ज्यादा हैं. So you fit them in a framework, you'll be able to remember better.
And every subject,
Not everything, but whatever you can. Not everything can fit here, but whatever you can. Like whatever, as much as you can. Yeah. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Yes. Name, please. Khushi.
Excuse me.
Sir, I face very much problem in revision because there is so much to study. Static
Okay.
portion plus dynamic. So sir, पढ़ तो लेते हैं but revision का time नहीं मिलता.
How do you revise?
I mean just study. उसको एक बार पढ़ लेती हूँ, जैसे एक बार
ठीक है.
समझ लिया, उसके बाद just read out.
What did you read last?
Sir, world history portion.
World history में क्या?
American Revolution.
Okay, tell me why the American Revolution happened.
Sir, because of the necessity they have.
हाँ जी.
Because they were facing financial crisis.
Okay, that's
why.
one reason. And?
Sir, because they were under the colonies of Great Britain.
Okay, any other reason?
And sir,
Okay, what was the impact of the American Revolution on the world?
sir, Bill of Rights,
Very good.
birth of Republic,
Okay.
global impact because the French people were sober inspired because of
Yes.
the French American Revolution.
Okay.
And sir, enlightenment.
Okay. Boring लग रहा है?
नहीं.
Because this is how you're supposed to revise.
Okay,
You
sir.
revise, yeah. You recall actively. You look at the questions and you look at them by yourself. Book बंद कर दो. You've read American Revolution. American Revolution में आपसे क्या पूछा जा सकता है? Causes, impact, timeline, impact for the future. यही तो पूछ सकते हैं ultimately. Cause, impact, timeline. That's basically it. Book बंद करके याद कर लो. अगर याद हो रहा है then you don't need to read it again. आपने अभी आपने 4 पॉइंट बोले,
Yes, sir.
you know you have missed 4 points also, है ना?
Yes, sir.
Causes में तो बहुत और points हैं which you have missed. Now you will only read the points that you have missed,
Okay.
and then once you remember them,
Sir,
You can
is
leave
it
it.
important to revise the one topic daily? Yeah,
no.
we can.
So this is a good question. How often do you revise? So psychology में, psychology optional का भी किसी का question था. There is a forgetting curve. It looks something like this. So after 1 day of reading anything, you will forget 60% of it. This is a normal fact for any normal brain. After reading it for 1 hour, you will forget 40% of it. Okay? तो उसमें क्या है, ऐसे there are dips, rather ये थोड़े spikes बन गए. There should be dips. ऐसे dips होते हैं उस curve में. So the dips come at 1 day, then the next major dip comes at 1 week, then at 1 month. So this is a technique called spaced repetition, where you repeat things at the time it is going to dip in your memory. I'm forgetting the name of the scientist who made this curve. तो आप क्या करो, आपने एक दिन पढ़ा, then you read it at 1 day, then at 1 week, then at 1 month. After that, you will not need to read it, provided at these times you are doing active recall. If at these times you are just passively reading, तो क्या होता है, your brain will connect the first point from the second from the third from the fourth. But if you don't recall the first one, then you will not recall 2, 3, and 4 also. It has to be independently in your memory. And for active recall, you require a framework like this. That is why this makes your job much easier, because this is logical and easy to remember. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hanji. Sorry, I'll just come to you. Yeah. Harsh. Yes. Sorry.
Paper.
I will still not be able to hear. That mic is for the camera, not for me.
You said that you still did not score good in paper 2 of
Yeah.
anthropology.
Yeah.
What according to you went wrong in that? And my second question implicit to this is self-analysis implicit to only question solving, or self-analysis should be done on the basis of the progress we have made, just like on the content?
The self-analysis part, if somebody got that, could you repeat that from the front row? I could not hear the self-analysis part. First question I got.
Okay. Self-analysis is implicit of doing only question solving for the mains or
Okay,
like
okay.
the prelims,
Understood.
or is it on the basis of the content that you have in the
Understood.
prematurely read?
I think you mean progress tracking, not self-analysis, or do you mean self-analysis in terms of
self-analysis, not
in terms of
progress.
marks and everything?
Yes, yes.
Okay. First question was what went wrong in Anthro paper 2. So I think one or two things. ऐसा नहीं था. एक तो I am much more interested in biology than I am in tribal issues. So paper 1 was more favorable to me. 118 is not a bad score, but it's also not a good score. It's like in the selected candidates, it's an average score. So what went wrong? I think एक तो in the paper I did not select the question well. I think I selected a bad optional. में you were supposed to select questions. So I think bad selection, and it was the last paper of the mains, right? So तब तक ना यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक हर जगह दर्द हो रहा था. So maybe I became lax. Maybe I should have put in more effort. Maybe मैंने थोड़ा वहाँ पे करा कि ठीक है मेंस खत्म होने वाला है, लिख देते हैं. Maybe that. And of course, maybe something in the content. I definitely could have studied more. At least for the Indian society part, I did not study well. So that is it. Now self-analysis in terms of marks and how you're supposed to do that. You have to do both. See, अगर आप क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करके अपने आप को जज कर रहे हो, तो आपको क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी लेवल के मिलने चाहिए ना. कहाँ मिलेंगे?
PYQs.
That's the only place. That is the only place. किसी भी कोचिंग किसी का नाम खराब नहीं कर रहा, किसी से कोई दुख, कोई हमदर्दी नहीं है और किसी से कोई नफरत भी नहीं है. किसी भी कोचिंग में ये एबिलिटी नहीं है कि वो यूपीएससी का लेवल का क्वेश्चन बना ले. ना मेंस में, ना प्रीलिम्स में, ना कोई मॉक इंटरव्यू ले सकता यूपीएससी लेवल का. They just don't have that ability, because कैसे ही होगी, right? You think of the people who are doing it there and the people who are doing it here. There is no comparison. So ultimately it has to be previous year questions. Content also has to make you do self-analysis. So you progress track on the basis of your content. मैंने content पढ़ लिया है, I'm studying 8 hours a day, my content is getting covered, that's one way. And then you analyze like on the basis of previous year questions and you'll get an idea.
So what do you suggest make a timetable and go through it, or fix a target and then go through it? Like
I would
complete,
say fix a target for a week to study. There is an app called Forest. I would say I would request that all of you install it in your phone. Forest app में क्या होता है कि मान लो मैं अपना phone use कर रहा हूँ and let's say ऐसा phone अभी पड़ा है, मैं Forest on करके दिखा देता हूँ जिन लोगों को दिख जाएगा. So let's say, just a second, yeah. So let's say I started a timer on my Forest. Okay. Okay. So I started a timer here on Forest. अब क्या होगा? As soon as अभी ये deep focus mode पे है. As soon as I close this, यहाँ देखो. Every other app that I have blocked is closed. There is no access to any other app except for phone and messages. Because वो essential है. Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, LinkedIn सब है मेरे पास अब. 2 साल के लिए नहीं था. सारी मैं अपनी बड़ा सब निकाल रहा हूँ. But अब they're all blocked अगर मैंने Forest on कर लिया तो. This way you track the amount you study in an hour. ये करके अगर आपको कोई कह दे कि वो दिन में 16 घंटे पढ़ रहा है तो मुझसे प्लीज मिलवा देना, मैं उनके पैर छू लूंगा. Because it's easy to sit on a table for 16 hours. This you can't do for 16 hours a day. Even 8 to 10 hours of this is huge. So target a week. Every day you study will not be कि मैंने आज सोचा और मैंने आज पढ़ लिया. This is how a study cycle looks like. आज 8 घंटे, कल 4, फिर 6, फिर 8, फिर 6. So what do? We track over a week. मेरे week का target है, मेरा daily target है 7 hours a day. तो मेरा week का target क्या हो गया? 49 hours. Now 49 hours can be 6 or 8, maybe sometimes 0, maybe sometimes 10. You track a week in Forest. And Forest की best बात क्या है? That if I just show it to you, आपको data भी दे देगा वो, and it will give you week wise, month wise, daily, जैसा data चाहिए. If you go to its app, you can see any data that you want. कि मैंने month by month कब कितनी पढ़ाई करी है. So अभी ये blank है because I've not used it for a long time. ऐसे week, month, year, any data you want, you will get it. So this is how you progress track, and of course previous year तो है ही. Yeah. हाँ जी. हाँ जी धनंजय.
Thank you for filling in the much needed crucial gaps in UPSC via your courses. I just started my 4th course under your guidance, so thank you for that. And so my question is, there's a lot of rhetoric in the market after this prelims, especially that the monthly magazines of any coaching is a redundant concept, and we need to go back to newspaper reading. So should we just stick to the magazines, or do we recreate the wheel by just going back to the papers and just like doing everything on our own, basically?
यार देखो, this is a very valid question, and of course, see, the newspaper is how many pages in one day? 20. And in a month it becomes how many pages? 600. Monthly magazine is how many pages? 100. So of course, there will be things that are there in the newspaper that will not be there in the monthly magazine. There will also be things that are there in the monthly magazine, because monthly magazine also tries to explain the context of how things have happened, but they will not be there in the newspaper. अब can you really remember and read the newspaper every day? अगर हिंदू में 3 साल पहले फ्लैग कोड पे एक बात लिखी आई है तो आप याद कर लोगे क्या प्रीलिम्स के लिए? If you can do it, have my blessing and read the newspaper. But we will read only what we can remember. आपने भी बहुत चीजें ऐसे रैंडमली पढ़ी होंगी कभी लाइफ में कि आज बस एक बार स्टोरी बुक की तरह पढ़ लिया. नॉवेल्स बहुत पढ़ी होंगी. नॉवेल से अगर मैं आपको आपकी पढ़ी हुई नॉवेल से एक एमसीक्यू बना के दे दूं तो आप कर लोगे क्या? नहीं कर पाओगे. Because intricacies are difficult to remember if you don't specifically revise them, right? In the ideas, grand ideas or theories, etc., that can be remembered. How? For that you read the editorial. But nitty-gritties, आप कैसे कर लोगे newspaper से यार? It is wonderful if you can do it, but then you probably ask somebody else क्योंकि मैं नहीं कर सकता. I can only say what I can do, and I cannot read the newspaper. And still, I would not, if I have to give the attempt next year. Still contemplating. If I will give the attempt next year, I will not read the newspaper again. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yes. Oh, sorry. I think there was one question from here. I'll just, yeah. Madhur, yeah. Okay.
First one is, how long preparation should be there?
How long? I'll answer one by one. So how long should you prepare? after 2 years, and if you've prepared specifically for the mains, you spend 2 years in the preparation, leave. नहीं हो रहा है, प्री भी नहीं हुआ है 2 साल से, you've spent time for mains, find a backup plan, then prepare.
Actually, sir, I think you misjudged it. I was asking कि कितना लंबा प्रिपरेशन हमें रखना है पहले, मतलब एग्जाम देने से पहले, कि
Okay.
हम कैसे डिसाइड करेंगे कौन सा वाला देना अटेम्प्ट.
I think, okay, so before the prelims, you should have 6 months where you have done your GS once and done your optional once. If that is true, you give it.
एंड नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज सर, नोट मेकिंग जो आपने बताया था कि ऐसे करो जैसे आंसर ही लिख रहे हो,
Yeah.
तो उसको कैसे, मतलब रनिंग.
I'll make a video tomorrow morning on YouTube. I've already planned this.
Okay.
So tomorrow morning you can see on my
And sir,
YouTube.
जैसे प्री चेंज हो रहा है, तो अभी ना बुक्स और स्ट्रैटेजीज में कुछ चेंजेस करने हैं क्या?
Nothing. Don't change anything for the prelims for next year. At least now. See, this will be too much of a knee-jerk reaction if you change right now. Right? अभी से change कर लिया तो we don't know yet. Just wait. Basics तो complete करो ना. Maybe prelims से 3 महीने पहले we'll do something new that we haven't done yet. Right? Yeah. What else? That's it. Oh. Can I have that sheet now if that's complete? Where is that sheet, by the way? Can you please get that? Thank you. Yeah. Yes. You please. I'll just come back to you.
हेलो सर, माई सेल्फ अभिषेक.
I'm not taking too much time. Right? Okay.
सर, एक कॉमन नोशन होता है कि मतलब यूपीएससी ऑप्शनल की बचरिंग करती है, तो सर
UPSC?
बचरिंग करती है, मतलब इसको कभी लेस पॉपुलर मोर पॉपुलर कर देती है.
Okay.
सर, आपको लगता है एंथ्रोपोलॉजी हो सकती है?
अगर मुझे ये पता होता तो
क्योंकि सर इस बार भी काफी ज्यादा लोगों का सिलेक्शन हुआ है इससे.
हाँ यार, देखो बुचरिंग हो सकती है, नहीं भी. आई हैव नो आइडिया.
ऐसा होता है, मतलब आपको क्या लगता है?
यार देखो, कभी कभी किसी ऑप्शनल के सिलेक्शन रेट तो कम होता है.
मतलब काफी पॉपुलर हो गया है, पहले लोगों को नहीं पता था ये सब्जेक्ट भी होता है.
यार, I have no idea how UPSC does this. I think it is scaling. What you're actually talking about is scaling. They scale optionals because, of course, you cannot judge maths and history with the same mindset. So they do scaling, and वो कब किस subject के साथ करेंगे ये नहीं है. But this cannot be your factor in making a decision. समझ रहे हो? ये factor नहीं हो सकता. Because this is out of your control ना. What if next year in the anthropology उन्होंने decide किया कि हम मेंस में भी objective question पूछ लेंगे? क्या कर लोगे? कर सकते हैं ना. But क्या आप इस बेसिस पर decision लोगे? नहीं. So ये factor नहीं है. Okay. Yeah, so I'll just come to you. हाँ, पहले हाँ आ रहे. बताओ. बहुत टाइम से हाथ उठा हुआ है उसका. हाँ, sorry.
Sir, across the four papers,
Yeah.
I observed in the main syllabus, the word issue has been mentioned 19 times across
क्या
all the
analysis है यार. Okay.
And another word that has been mentioned in the notification number of times is the analytical ability. The words analyze, analytical
yeah.
ability. Also in CSAT, this term has been mentioned. So my question is that when the word issue is there across all papers, there must be some things that a issue covers, any issue. And also, what is the meaning of the word issue in itself in relation to UPSC? That is my first question.
इतना डेप्थ में मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं है. We'll just keep it limited to one question because there's somebody else
Yeah,
also.
so,
and I think I'm being subtly told that I've overstepped my time. So I'll just keep it limited to
just
one.
as like second
Yeah.
question, and that when it comes to everybody says analyze the previous year question paper, can you give a step by step medium how to do it?
YouTube पे है.
Sir,
I'm not going to repeat what is already there on YouTube. It'll take me 25 minutes to explain that.
Okay.
And I already have done that.
Okay, sir.
What an issue contains effectively is, of course, the background of it, the context as to why it has happened. See, yeah, it is the same questions. What, why, where, when, how. The moment you can answer all of that. For example, let's say the problem of regionalism in India. अगर मुझे regionalism सोचना है, I will think, okay, historically, why is there regionalism in India? What are its causes? How is it impacting me? How it has developed over time? Any timeline or any examples that I can see? Various impacts of it, things that the government has done to deal with it. Then I'll think in dimensions, the social dimension or the political one, the economic one, the legal one, etc. And what is the solution? That's it. Analytical ability, I think, is overstated. मुझे लगता है कि बहुत ज़्यादा इस बारे में बात होती है, but इतना कुछ है नहीं. It's just thinking on certain lines, and if you can do that, it'll be fine. Yeah, sorry. Yes, your name, please. After this, I'm going to the sheet.
Good evening, sir. It's Trishna. And
Okay.
my question was, can you suggest, is it a good decision to prepare GS and optionals along with coachings? How to manage that? Is this is a good decision to take that together? Or
So
if-
you're also going to coaching, preparing GS also and optional
Yes.
also in one day.
Yes, sir.
How long is your coaching class? For one day?
GS is for 10 months and
No,
optional
no,
is
no.
for
In a day. In a day.
5 to 6 hours.
5 to 6 hours.
Yes.
Just read what you're being taught in the coaching. Nothing else.
Okay, sir.
Nothing else.
Okay, sir. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Okay. What if I am suffering from any disease? Is there any probability of being rejected? There is a detailed medical, whoever has asked this, there is a detailed medical notification given by the UPSC that will tell you what the qualifying criteria is. Why Indian Foreign Service? Simply because that I am not in the Indian Foreign Service, will not get it on the basis of my rank, but it was my first preference. And the reason was that I was very interested in international relations, still am. It was only purely, solely on the basis of my interests and my experience in the Model United Nations. What mistakes did you do in the first attempt? So we should avoid that during the preparation. I was very good at prelims. Major mistake that I can tell you, maybe everything cannot be explained in a short duration. Maybe the summary of this mistakes can be called my YouTube channel. But if I had to say one mistake that you can fix is lack of self-belief. 1 month before the mains, I thought I won't make it. I missed it only by 18 marks. 18 marks in a paper where 7 stages are scoring is nothing. It means 3 marks per paper more, and I would have made it through mains in my first attempt. 3 marks per paper means half a mark more in 6 questions. That can be done through self-belief. If you believe you'll do it, you will do it. At least you'll do better than what you will do if you will not believe it in yourself. So self-belief was lacking. Prelim से पहले था हो जाएगा, I've studied well. Main से पहले था बिल्कुल नहीं होगा, मेरे तो आता ही नहीं है. This was one major mistake. Okay. Concepts or facts, which is more important in terms of mains, 100% concepts. What can be a backup option? Depends on you, but I'll just like to clarify what a backup is. A backup is not anything where you have to give another exam. It is something that you always have. If I am an MBBS, my backup is medicine. Because मेरे पास कोई और exam नहीं है देने के लिए. State PCS is not a backup. SSC is not a backup. Okay? Backup is anything जहां आप कहीं भी जा सकते हो, कभी भी जा सकते हो. No matter what happens, you can go to it. Alright? Consider it that clingy girlfriend or boyfriend you had in college where you could just go back anytime you wanted. Okay. What is the right approach to study? Should we go from 6th to 12th NCRT and whoever this is, please improve your handwriting. And many other exams, 6th to 12th NCRT is important like CAPF, etc. I have never given any other UPSC exam except for civil services. So I will not comment on any other exam. I have never read NCRT, any NCRT before 10th grade. So I will not comment on that. कोई फायदा नहीं है. Anything that is meant for a 6th grader cannot be something that they're asking of a graduate in a civil services exam. This is my thinking. Of course, there are different views and you're free to believe whichever. How to make effective notes? YouTube tomorrow. Is there any symptoms in preparatory phase that after diagnosing, it becomes too late and becomes sure that we cannot get selected? I don't really understand this question. So I'll come back to it. Strategy to write a mains answer. Can we write a biased question or can we criticize the government? Yes, you can criticize the government as far as you are not criticizing a party. Many mains questions have critically evaluate in them. So they are expecting you to criticize. But that criticism must be constructive. It cannot be something that is anti-India, anti-Indian polity, liberty, democracy, etc. But if it is constructive criticism, for example, if you mention that even after 75 years of independence, poverty persists in India. This is a criticism of the Indian state and it's a valid criticism. There is poverty in India. But if I finish here and I don't tell what needs to be done to eradicate poverty or what we are doing wrong and what needs to be done better, then it's a problem. You cannot end with the criticism, but you can certainly criticize. Mistakes we should avoid in the mains exam. I think I'll tell as much as I can, and I think I've talked a lot about this on YouTube also. But again, self-belief is one thing, and not thinking that mains can be done in 3 months between prelims and mains. Probably that is the one mistake I'll tell you to avoid. How to avoid distractions? It's like these people are laughing because this is a title of a YouTube video. So again, I will not go into this. With respect to anthropology, what was your strategy? Anthropology, I have, there is a strategy for everything. And again, I cannot go into this much detail. But I would recommend that please don't consider it a small subject. 3 से 4 महीने का subject नहीं है anthropology. Minimum 6 months it will take if you have proper guidance, which is at a premium. वो नहीं होगी तो 8 से 9 महीने. One thing that I would recommend, are there any anthropology optional students here? Oh, acha, many of you. So one thing I'd recommend is go to EPG Pathshala. This is a government initiative where they have talked of, it is the complete MA course of anthropology, freely available, and it is there for every subject, for psychology, for public administration, for sociology. One of India's best professors are teaching. YouTube lectures are free, the PDF is free. Refer that, because that would give you effective information that is academic, not coaching based. All right. 10 to 12 hours a day, toppers generally say that they studied for 10 to 12 hours a day, but it is very tough to sit for 6 to 8 hours. Any tips for it? If you're managing 6 to 8 hours on forest, it will be enough. Because मेरे से ही नहीं manage हो रहा था 8 hours से ज़्यादा forest पे, तो probably I cannot give you a tip. How to maintain a relationship with UPSC preparation? Okay. Okay, this is a serious issue. Okay, take your time and laugh, but this is a serious issue. So, firstly, I have not been able to do it. I have terribly failed at maintaining a relationship with UPSC preparation, and mainly because of my own mistakes. But what I have learned, when you don't succeed, you get experience. So from experience, I can tell you that try and maintain a status quo. Okay, a status quo would mean don't change anything. Everything is changing in your life in many other things. Things are difficult, right? Try and not to change anything. No new relationships, and don't break off an old one. The other thing that I can again say from experience is the only thing for a successful relationship that I've understood is low expectations. If you lower your expectations from somebody, you will at least be happy, even if the relationship will fail. And at this time, there are people who are expecting so much from you. You are expecting so much from you. So at least from your partner, keep lower expectations. They might not be in the same boat that you are. They might not understand how difficult UPSC is. Even if they are a UPSC aspirant, they might feel it is much more difficult than for you, or they feel it is much more easy. They might not be serious. They might not want to study. They might have family issues. We can never truly understand somebody else, even after living with them. So lower your expectations of them and of yourself also. So what do we do if we feel low? Mental health is a major issue. Sir, can we first create a plan B like SSC banking, then go for UPSC CSE? Depends very much on your financial situation. But if your finances are not stable, I would say create a plan B. But you see, this is not a backup. This is a plan B. I hope you're understanding the difference, right? So I would say if your financials are not stable, create a backup. Then go for a plan B or for UPSC, but you must have a financial backup. All right, so that brings me to the end of this. I will just ask the team if... Okay, so I am again being told subtly, not so subtly this time, that my time is up. So I would just like to thank all of you for coming here. I've just realized you had a class too. So now I know you've not come for me, but still thank you. And thank you for being here. And thank you for being attentive, those of you who were. And I just wish you all the best. And in the end, I'd just like to tell you that you and your mental health is far more important than this exam. I'd kept this message for the end. Jis din result aaya, I saw my father be proud of me for the first time. Or not the first time, but be very, very immensely proud of me. That was a moment of happiness, but I did not feel happy. 5 मिनट की खुशी है रिजल्ट की, सिर्फ 5 मिनट की. 5 दिन बाद आप फोन से इरिटेट हो जाओगे कि फोन क्यों बज रहा है. उसके 5 दिन बाद आप अपनी रैंक से इरिटेट हो जाओगे कि यार मेरे को मेरी सर्विस नहीं मिली. पहले सिलेक्शन, फिर उसके बाद सर्विस, सर्विस के बाद कार्डर के बाद मे बी अ लाइफ पार्टनर, राइट? देन योर पेरेंट्स, कुछ घर पे हो जाएगा. हैप्पीनेस इज नॉट कंटिंजेंट ऑन रिजल्ट्स. रिजल्ट लाके आई हैव बिन, and if any time I have the pleasure of meeting any of you outside from today, I will only judge you for the person you are and not for your marks or your result. And I would expect you to do the same to me. Treat me like Shivin and not as rank 297. Thank you.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.